Hi everyone. Today I'm playing with my second recipe page. I'm going to be doing 3 of these. I did one the other day. I shared with you that it was the first time I'd ever painted on like a page out of a book. I should have brought the book up here. I took this from. It was a Tuscan cookbook. And it kind of pained me a little to rip the page out, but I did, and it's only going to be 3 pages. So the other day I painted this, I added some metallics, I just used very little water. And then I, of course, added in a little bling with my MAB metallics that I thought was really pretty. And this had this one little sentence in here, fruits plumped in wine. So I thought that was somewhat made a good subject matter for me to paint on there. And then day 2, I'm doing these fun little cherries. I brought up some photos of cherries, so we're going to paint that today. Or hopefully you guys will join me in painting these. And the first thing I want to do, though, and I have to apologize for the reflection with the light ring I used for filming in here. I thought I was being so clever, and I bought this acrylic clipboard so I could hold things up and do this type of thing for you and maybe tilt it. What I found is because it's acrylic, it is reflecting my lights that I use for filming. So after this, I probably won't do that again, which is kind of a bummer because I liked this idea. All right, moving on. The second thing I'm going to do is my Mylang paints are running a little short, so I'm going to go ahead and fill those up. Use this yellow green a lot. These are the Mylang tubes. Let's see, I don't have the cover here. Actually, one of you guys told me about this. Okay, so I know you can't see and my dentist would cringe, but I'm going to use my teeth to open it. That sometimes happens with these paints. Okay, not just Mylang, just all tube paints. So I'll have to be careful now using that today because I find when I use directly out of a tube until this dries, I tend to get a little bit too much on my brush. This is the Mylang palette, by the way, which, as you know, I speak very highly of. I recommend it to everybody. And then this is the olive green. So I'm just going to, wow, these are on here tight. Sorry, Sarah, my dentist. I promise I'm barely using them. I'm going to go ahead and fill that up. I just love these Mylang tubes, so I'm going to have to probably buy some more of those pretty soon as well. I am painting so much these days. And then this one is my tree green. That's kind of my other, oh my goodness, one I use a lot of. So I'm just going to fill that up a bit. There we go. And maybe when I'm done painting today, I will fill up my cad yellow and my rose red out of here. There's the rose red. All right, so there we go with that. These are so handy. You know I love my Mylangs. Oops. And I already sprayed these to kind of get them activated. Oops. But I think I'll spray just a little bit more. And then I have to be, like I said, watchful of using the ones I just filled because that is very wet paint. And I will have the tendency to pick up too much because I forget it's all wet right now until it dries. So there we go. And then for my cherries, I practiced these the other day, and I might share this in a video with you, just to kind of practice some of the colors that I used and values. I did these a little lighter values, so I'm going to do something like that now. And let's see, I might as well spray my palette just a bit. By the way, thank you to everybody who ordered my custom made. We did 2 releases of my palette. I've been buying these for years and years. And I custom designed these, and then Miss Ceramics makes them for me, which is a really tedious process, you guys. Boy, she really loves what she does because I couldn't do it. We did sell out of 2 releases, and that'll be it for a while. I think there might be 1 left. Anyway, I'll put the link in here if you'd like it. But thank you for that. That's really supportive. And to me, these are like a piece of art. All right, let's get started on here. I'm using just the minimal amount of water. So that doesn't mean necessarily how much water I put in here. I'm more referring to how much I leave my well and go to my paper. So I may have a lot of water in here, but I'm going to tap and scrape off. So when I go into this, I'm not going in with a ton of water because what many of you have commented on, and I found as well, older books seem to have a little bit thicker paper, and it's a little bit better for this, interestingly. But so this one worked really well. I didn't notice a lot of warping at all. And once I frame this, which I will share with you guys, might take me a while because I'm not good at that. I'm good at it, but it's my vision of how I want to frame these is always kind of pricey. So I'm going to try and do it myself. But let's go into this. I don't know if you can see my drawing on here very well, but I drew 3 cherries, some leaves, and I even drew in the white space I want to leave. You probably can't see that because of the writing. It's probably kind of covering it, but I'll try to show that. And I always do a little swatch, especially for something like this where I'm going to use a lot of different colors of reds for my berries. So I just make a little swatch and little pre-mixed reds that I can choose from. Let's go ahead and go in here. Oh, and by the way, I am using, let me do this real quick. I'm using my 6 long round Princeton Velvet Touch. As you know, I'm a huge fan of the Velvet Touch, mostly because I love my aesthetics. I love having pretty supplies around me, and I will save up and wait. I do use those Degatos, though, I tell you about all the time. That's a great student brush to start with because you don't want to invest in Princeton's, or if you have plenty of money to do that, do it. But for me, you know, this is a set of like between 10 and 13 for under $15. And I've had those for a year. Now this is, like I said, the 6 long round Princeton. I like the short handles because otherwise I'm hitting my camera and they're just in the way. So I like this brush. All right, I went in and I just did a soft value for that red cherry. And then I'm going to do one more here, and I'm going around those white spaces I drew in. And just, again, I have to say, I'm so surprised how well this paper takes paint. It's quite shocking, and was one of the reasons why I never tried this before, because I thought, oh, it's not going to work. It's going to be way too, I mean, it's watercolors, right? But it has worked really well. I do notice, and maybe this is just the book that I'm using, but they dry rather quickly, kind of surprisingly. Okay, now into that, I want to go an extra layer, and I'm going to use my darker red, just a deeper, darker red, and going to kind of go along. I use the side of my brush, leaving these white spaces in here, and adding in a tiny bit more color. Now, I will say what I did notice is you do have to be kind of careful. You don't want to do too many layers and things because this paper is very thin and you're going to start pulling up the little fibers. So be kind of careful about that. And then let's go in to this one in the back here, because you will kind of rip up the paper. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put, I want this to be a lighter value because it's in the back, but I do want to add just a slightest touch of yellow, because I love when cherries kind of have that yellow color. I think it's so pretty. I might even add the tiniest bit because I'm getting close to I'm just going into my yellow here, guys. I'm getting pretty wet, so I want to be watchful of that. But I do want to add a touch of yellow here and there. There we go. And then I might go along where this cherry in the back is behind this front cherry, and I might just, add like a little shadow, something like that. So you can't do a ton of blending and layers on this. I will say that because this paper is just too fragile. Let's go ahead and go in here and maybe we'll add a little touch of green because I think that will be a really pretty, just a touch of red to it, shadowy color. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute and let's do our leaf. I always use an olive and sap type of green. I think in my lang they call it tree green. This is called yellow green. I like the mixture of those two. It just gives me that perfect color I like. So, ooh, see, for a second there, I forgot. I just put new paint in there, so I got an awful lot on my brush. That's okay. I just need to be aware of it. And then I'm tapping off my brush, and there's quite a bit that just came off. I'm going to use this side of my brush and point, press, and I want to leave white spaces in there, guys. And notice I just did a tutorial on leaving these raggedy edges. I love that. I love leaving raggedy edges. You're also, I'll just tell you up front, you're not going to get a huge ability to blend and do washes that flow into each other because of this paper. That's just my experience. Maybe some of you, were able to do that better than myself. So those are just some little cherry stems. There's a leaf in the back here. Let's do that one. And it's very squiggly. So I'm just doing that. I'm going to add a tiny bit of water to this to lighten the value. So now I'm using these leaves. I used about a 50-50. Now I'm using about an 80 water, 20 pigment. But I'm still tapping my brush off, okay? Because I don't want to go in there with a really damp brush. That's going to be too much. And then you probably can't see, but there's little tiny, I noticed them on my cherry stems. They have these little tiny, I don't even know what this is called, but like, I don't know, you guys. I'm at a loss for what to call those. But I noticed they have them on the cherries. It's just kind of like this brown stem that winds around the branches. And then I'm going to go in with my gold or my yellow ochre. Oh, I have some in the... By the way, before you guys ask, Miss Ceramics makes me these. I buy so much from her over the years. Hey, everyone. Oh, boy. This is one of those tech things that really challenges me here on YouTube. Is I was in the middle of videoing. I got to about here, and my videoing shut off saying my device is full. So I've got to figure this out. And then I'm going to have to go find a friend or somebody to kind of piece these two videos together. Just breathe, right? All right, let me see if I can go ahead and get this finished and hopefully make it through this video before it shuts off again. And so I've got those. I think where I was is I was talking about these little palettes. I said, we'd sold out of these, and we're going to try maybe after Easter to come up with a little different palette, maybe smaller or something. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So for these little branches here, I'm going to mix some brown, some yellow ochre, some green, and just create those. I feel like I want a little more brown in there. Stems like that. Yeah, I think that's perfect. And then I just have one little tiny petal here that I didn't get. It's not even a petal, it's like a stub. Sometimes these have little pieces that come out, and then I might just go in and give some of these some definition. And I think I'll add a little bit of gold, not just because I love it, but because I added gold into my other one. So I feel like I want to keep it kind of consistent, because I'm going to do a triptych of all of these in my kitchen. Let me get my gold, my MAB. Let's see, Golden Series. Here it is. I don't know if you can see that because of the lights. And I'm going to go into this one. Side of my brush. I know it looks like the tip, but I'm loading this side. And then just like I did on here, I'll just add some little gold touches, maybe even on my cherries. Little gold here. There we go. Kind of fun. And that's probably good. Oop. So I'm done with that. I will do one more of these. Not sure what the next content will be, but I will do one more of these. This will go with this one. And then not sure what the next one will be. And then I will hopefully figure out how to frame them. By the way, on my paper, I used washi tape because I was afraid this paper is so thin, I might rip it if I use Scotch tape like I usually do. So I just use washi tape to hold it down. Let me get all that off and take a look at it. So fun, you guys. I hope you try this. It really is fun. And I think, gosh, for the cook or anybody, this would be a great little gift. So there's those two so far. And I will keep you posted if I do another. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Happy painting. And for those of you that did order my palette, the collab with Miss Ceramics, I am so excited to get those to you. She's in the second firing stage, and I think we do have one palette left. So I'll be sharing that. All right, everybody, thanks so much, and just love all you guys. Most of all, have fun, because it does show in your paintings. All right, see you soon.